everybody? Welcome to a brand new week of El Boogie and the Bell. I am the Bell, of course, joined by El Boogie. How we doing, Boogie?
Man, I was doing great, having a good Christmas, good holiday season until Amari Cooper messed up my fantasy football, man. I didn't make it to the finals because of Amari, so shout out to
By at
Amari
least
Cooper, I
25
guess.
points too. It was a
Man,
50
he
point fantasy, right?
he got 50 points and I lost one of my leagues by 10 to not make it to the finals. So,
Yeah,
whatever. It's
that's
cool.
it.
We moving on. Uh, good holiday seasons. Special episode today. Today is
Merry
my
Christmas.
birthday. Oh,
Happy
yeah.
birthday. We have a
Birthday.
birthday special with El Boogie.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we got a good, exciting week of college football coming up, and a good week of NFL games as we get to the end of the season. So I'm ready to get into it.
All right, for sure. We're going to go college football heavy, so we're going to get right into it with our sports trivia. El Boogie, go ahead and give me yours.
All right, we're gonna do sticking to college football. We're gonna do the last five Heisman Trophy winners.
I'm going to do so bad at this. Wow. I'm terrified. It was ha is what's his name didn't get it right. Bryce Young definitely didn't get it.
Bryce Young did get it in 2021.
Um, fucking give me a hint for the year before that.
The year before that was also an Alabama player, a receiver. That kind of gives it away.
Receiver, fucking it was Devontae Adams or Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith, he got it in 2020. So what's
I know
left?
Kyler Murray got it in like 2016.
He got it in 2018, but you're missing
5 years ago.
2019.
What was our fifth year ago?
Yeah, 2019. So you're missing 2019, 2022, and this year, 2023.
The um the West Coast. Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, he won it in 2022. So
And
now
who
all
am
you
I
got left is
missing?
you're missing two quarterbacks. Surprisingly, both from LSU.
Oh, Big Burrow.
Joe Burr, yeah, he won it in 2019. And you got obviously LSU quarterback this year. Do you know his name?
Oh, Jaden Daniels won. Yeah,
Jaden Daniels. There you go. That's the
for
last
sure.
five Heisman Trophy winners.
Hell of a pick this year he'll have. Yeah, he's entered, right?
He should
Or is he a
enter. He's a senior this year,
sophomore,
so I'm
junior?
pretty sure.
Yeah, I was like,
No,
yeah,
he's a
he's
senior. He's
on.
gonna come out. Yeah.
Now somebody's gonna move on him. All right, all right. I did all right. All right, I was nervous
Okay.
at first.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into mines for you, and this one's gonna be relatively easy. It should be. There's the last one I think is gonna mess you up, but name four teams that have been to the most college football playoffs since this playoffs have started.
The four teams that have been to the most.
You have a team that's
So,
been 8 times, a team that's been 6 times, a team that's been 5 times, and team that's been 4 times. We're gonna do four teams.
all right. So I know Alabama's been in there
8.
8 times. Yeah, Alabama. Um, I'm gonna say Clemson. Clemson's been in there
6 times.
6 times. Okay. Ohio State
5 times. You got 1
5 times.
left.
One more.
And don't have recency bias.
Okay. I don't think it's Georgia.
Good job.
I don't think it's Michigan. Is it Oklahoma?
Oh my gosh. See, I did not think you were gonna get Oklahoma right.
Oh, 4 for
That was a
4.
that
Let's
was a
go.
sweep. That was a sweep.
Let's
That's El
go.
Boogie's first sweep in the trivia, man.
Oklahoma. I think they've been. How many times have they been?
Oklahoma they've had 4 playoff games.
Four
So this
playoff
is by
games.
how many games, not by how many wins.
Right. I was about to say they've never made it to the championship in the
No,
playoffs.
I don't
So,
think so.
oh damn, that's tough.
I remember the year with Jalen Hurts, and I can't think of another time besides that. But
Right.
it's be 1 through 4 and just lose. All right, man. Hey, that was a smooth sweep. All right, we're gonna add something special into the show. Such a big New Year's Day game. If you don't have work, I'm sure you're just gonna be sitting down watching sports, much like us. Why not try to make a little money off of it? So we actually put together our New Year's Day parlays, and This could be over the course of the weekend. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into that. Go ahead and give me yours, L Boogie.
All right, mine. I focused on the NFL, so I guess it's kind of a New Year's Eve parlay. But
Okay.
so I'm picking just doing money lines. So I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons money line over the Chicago Bears. I got the Houston Texans over the Tennessee Titans. I got the Las Vegas Raiders beating the Indianapolis Colts. I
Oh,
got I got the Cincinnati Bengals beating Kansas City. In Kansas City. It's a hot take, I know, but that's what I'm feeling right now.
nah.
And another surprise, I got the Miami Dolphins surprising the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. So overall, this five leg parlay is at plus 7,468.
All right, all right. You
I
might
know.
make
Hey,
some money hitting on L Boogie.
hey, you hit this leg, man, you're gonna turn 10 into $700. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
All right, for mine, I have a specific New Year's Day parlay. I got LSU beating Wisconsin, nothing big there. Oregon beating Liberty, nothing big there. I got Tennessee beating Iowa. Iowa came in higher
Oh,
ranked,
okay. That's
but I
surprising.
think Tennessee could win due to size. Them big boys, I think, could do it.
I
Uh,
don't. Okay, okay.
I want Tennessee to win. Quarterback out. I think Tennessee's gonna win this game. I think Tennessee's gonna win that game. I got Alabama beating Michigan. Pay
Okay.
attention. I got Alabama beating Michigan, and I do have Washington taking it against Texas. That's the scariest pick out of all my picks, but I believe that this is Washington's year. I think they're playing amazing football. I think they're willing to do whatever they can to win. I don't think they beat winner out of Alabama and Michigan, but we're gonna get into that a little bit later in the show. And I got $10 winning you a solid $95. So that's plus 951 on FanDuel.
Okay. Solid.
Alrighty.
Solid takes. Solid takes. Not as spicy, I guess.
Yeah. Well, segment two, we're gonna get right into our topics. We got topic number one with L Boogie.
All right. So starting off with the college football train, we're talking upsets in college football. What are some big upsets you think are going to happen? You know, a lot of favorites. I mean, people think they're favorites for a reason. Who do you think's going to upset some favorites? And then I also want to get into the big games. You know, who's more likely to get upset, Michigan or Washington?
So first, I'm gonna go ahead and stick with that Tennessee pick. I got Tennessee beating Iowa. I think Iowa was a great team. I just have Tennessee beating them. Do I have specific reasons why? Do I have sports analytics why? No, but it is college football and these guys are playing. Money is flowing. People might be getting paid off. I think Tennessee is going to win that day. I think that would be one of the upsets of the day. Another upset, not really an upset. I got Alabama beating Michigan. I think Alabama's the best college football team in the country. I just do. I think they beat the number one team to get into the playoffs. Um, yeah, I think that they're gonna win it. I don't think it's gonna be too big of an issue. Fields on neutral grounds. Think they're just gonna win it. I think the South is just gonna powerhouse them. Michigan's they got some dogs on the team, but I think Alabama's gonna win. Washington is not an underdog. Washington is not an upset. Washington has the better record. Washington played good competition as well. I think Washington beats Texas this year, and I think Texas comes back next year with nothing but vengeance to actually win their first playoff game. And that's my for sure not so hot take. Um, don't see anything else big going on that day. Of course, Florida State versus Georgia. I got Georgia just completely just. I have Georgia just. I have Georgia just just nasty. Just like it's gonna be bad. Yeah, yeah. That's what I got. What about you, Boogie?
I mean, I agree with most of your takes with the bowl games. I think really the only upset that I think that I like, I do have Mississippi upsetting Penn State. I think Mississippi was a better football team than Penn State. They played a lot of tough games this year, so I feel like Mississippi's going to come and upset Penn State. Um, the Tennessee versus Iowa one, I remembered Iowa's offense wasn't really good this year. They had like a record good defense and a terrible offense this season. So, maybe that pick is actually legit. And then let's see. Between the Texas and Washington game, I think Washington has a chance to get upset by Texas. Simply because I think this game is going to be a shootout. It's going to be, 35, 40 plus a point game on both sides. So I don't know. I feel like Texas can come and catch Washington slipping a little bit. I do still think Washington is going to win the game, but I would not be surprised if Texas came and won. And then Michigan, Alabama. Michigan's technically not an underdog, but I think everyone expects Alabama to win. I think Michigan's going to win that football game. That's my hot take. Michigan's a good team. They've been a good team and played great against the best competition. Yes, Alabama has gotten hot and played good football down the stretch the season and in the SEC
Only
championship game.
One slip up all season.
Yeah, but there were a couple games where they were, not playing well against bad teams. Yes, they still won, but they weren't playing good against bad teams. So Michigan has played good against everybody.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
I think Michigan is. I don't know. I'm taking Michigan to win. I'm thinking. I think Washington's more likely to get upset than Michigan.
That's hot. Okay. Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to wait to see. It's gonna be a hell of an episode next week with all of our picks. All right. Well, with that being said, let's go into my topic, which is our early championship predictions. So, not only have we gave you guys our picks on who we think will make it to the top two, who's actually going to win that top two? Who you got?
All right. So, like I said, I got Washington and Michigan winning this week. And that means Washington and Michigan in the final. I'm going to stick with Michigan in that scenario. I think just that team is really good, really motivated. They're trying to win a championship for their coach. Jim Harbaugh is the better coach in that scenario, so I would take Michigan to take it home.
I got Washington versus Alabama. I got Alabama, of course, winning. I think they add another championship to their record. I think they add another championship playoff season to their record. Do still think that they are the best team. I just think that they're going to win it. I think they're going to take it. And, yeah, I mean, I think it gets a little easy after this weekend, but we shall see. And I do think Washington does come to play. I don't think it's a 26-13 championship game. I think it's a 36-33 championship game. Is what we would all hope for. But I do think Alabama edges them out, finishing the game off. So.
And in that scenario, I agree with you. Yeah, if it is Alabama, Washington, I would pick Alabama. But imagine this: Alabama and Texas in the championship game, a rematch of earlier in the season. Now that would be a chance for Alabama to really say, "All right, guys, last time that was a fluke." That'd be a bigger game for Alabama, I think.
That would be a humongous game. But I would actually want to go to the scenery of it, or actually where it is. I'm focused on trying to make it to the Super Bowl this year, but that would be crazy. I think that would be a lit game. All right. Next topic 3. It looks like you, Boogie. Oh, I think it's me. So we're actually going to switch gears into the NFL. So, with that being said, MVP picks after the 49ers and Ravens game. So we just came off of a 49ers and Ravens game that I think showed a lot, but it's a long season that we've been at it for about, 16 weeks now? 15 or 16 weeks?
I think this is week 16. Yeah.
Does that affect your pick? Do you think that affects the general public's pick? And who gets added into the conversation after Brock Purdy threw, was it 3 or 4 interceptions?
4. He threw
4 interceptions in a primetime game playing against somebody he's competing for that title with. And Christian McCaffrey had a good game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so, that game was sad. I I was watching that Niners Ravens game with a bunch of Niners fans. It was sad in there.
Oh yeah,
Um,
huh?
but but yeah, so Brock Purdy, he was the favorite. I think coming into that game, and now he's dropped to fifth in the odds. So right now,
Wow.
Lamar Jackson is the number one, just based on the odds right now, which I agree with to an extent. So I'll go ahead and read these odds right now. So it's Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, Tua. Oh, I misspoke earlier. Brock Purdy is actually fourth, and then
Okay.
Josh Allen. Josh Allen is five. Um, so I'm not upset. I think those are the accurate rankings right now, but I do think there should be more conversation about Tua because I was looking at some of the stats for Tua versus Lamar leading up to this season,
Hmm.
and Tua honestly has better stats. So for the season up to this point, Tua has 26 total touchdowns, Lamar has 24. Tua has 4,260 total yards. Lamar Jackson has 41 and 40. Tua has a passer rating of 105, Lamar 97. Tua has 15 turnovers, Lamar has 15. Um, and Tua has a win loss record of 11 and 4. The Ravens are 12 and 3. So Tua statistically is having a better season. I mean, yes, his team is not the number one seed, but they're the number two seed. Um, so I think Tua deserves a little more credit and should be brought in this conversation more. The game next week, if Tua can go to Baltimore and have a great game and beat the Ravens, how is he not number one in the odds? Like, how is he not the leader?
It's crazy how he snuck in there because it's like I wasn't talking about 2 or 3 weeks ago. You know, it was Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson, and
Hmm.
even before the stint with the Eagles, it was Jalen Hurts.
Right,
Tua
right.
snuck in there, and even prior to that, it's Tyreek Hill, not Tua Tagovailoa. So I'm like, let's do let's do what I did to the 49ers. It's you could plug a good amount of quarterbacks into that system and be like, well, god dang, look what he has. You're talking about Jalen Waddle, you're talking about Tyreek Hill, you're talking about Mustard, whatever his name is, coming out of the backfield, being very productive for you every single week. When I watch him play, like he is productive. When they can't score points, he shows up and figures a way to get the ball in the end zone. Like that's a baller right there too. The Ravens have ballers as well, but they don't have MVP candidates like a Tua. I mean, not like a Tyreek Hill. So it's the same thing with the 49ers. Like, give somebody a Christian McCaffrey, a Debo Samuels, what's his name? George Kittle. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about real Pro Bowlers, like real all stars of the league. So Lamar's beating these dudes bad in my eyes. If you look at what he has, what he's been able to do, and how he shows up against better competition, which is something that the Dolphins struggled with, even though they have showed improvement. I got Lamar Jackson winning it all. He has 2 weeks, and I don't see him being inconsistent for the last 2 weeks of the season. So, but we definitely are going to talk about that Dolphins and Baltimore game next week. So,
I think that's going to have the biggest impact on the rankings for MVP. Um, Especially, imagine if one of them comes in and has a great game and the other one doesn't.
yeah,
It's gonna be kind of
set
clear.
in stone.
Yeah,
But shouts outs for Tua. Tua sneaking back in there.
he's having a good season. I think the thing is, even though they've lost some games to good teams, he's been statistically performing pretty consistently throughout the season. I know he got a lot of MVP talk at the beginning when they were like really destroying teams and they beat the Broncos really bad. Um, but yeah, Tua's hung in there. But Christian McCaffrey is still above him though, which I think is also a fair point because Christian McCaffrey is
Did
literally
everything. Like
everything for
everything.
that offense.
Like
Yeah,
everything.
and I think he's leading the league in rushing yards as of right now. So like he kind of deserves to be up there.
Did you see the touchdown he scored? I'm just thinking, like, man, that is a candidate right there. Like
Yeah,
that was dog ball, and he's looking short out there, man. I'm like, he doesn't have this crazy big size or anything, but he still runs after contact. So I'm like,
I
I
believe
don't
it. I think
know.
he's 6'1". He's 6'1" or 6 foot, and he's like
I
two
mean,
220, 230. So he's a solid guy. Like he's not like tiny. You know what I mean? But he runs tough. He runs tough.
For sure. All right, and going into some of the matchups next week, going into some of the storylines that we have coming up, I think we have some breaking news from L Boogie. What's going on in the league right now?
Breaking news, breaking news. Looking at the odds for the Chargers and the Broncos, the odd line just shifted, and it's because the Broncos have announced that Russell Wilson will be the backup quarterback for the final two games of the season. Jarrett Stidham is in as the starter. There's currently no injury designation to Russell Wilson, so this has to be some sort of move by the team in an effort to start to try to lean off of Russell Wilson. And I think it makes sense based on his contract. So right now, he already has, I believe, $39 million guaranteed for next season. But if Russell Wilson does not pass a physical in March, then he gets another 37 million guaranteed in 2025. The Broncos want to make sure that he passes that physical in March so that he doesn't get that 37 million guaranteed. So that just shows that in the long term, they know Russ is not the answer. They're going to want to move off him eventually, whether that be this offseason coming up or the offseason following. So yeah, that's pretty breaking news. They just announced that, and this was a team that was really looking to make the playoffs, but I think that
And
loss to
still
New
has a
England
chance. I'm sure they're staring
technically
off of it, but they had a chance, a legit one
a,
too.
a good chance, and it's not just losing they lost to the Lions. That was a bad loss, but losing to the Patriots at home, the Patriots
At
were
home.
3-11, and you can't take that dub home. Something's got to change. So I think the Broncos are starting to make moves for that.
Crazy. Crazy. I'm gonna leave
Yeah.
that one right there. I think you said it best. I was like, I'm just still in shock. That's coming 5 minutes prior to us pressing record, people. So that's as real as it gets.
Yeah.
Any other matchup storylines? I know we're talking about that Dolphins and Ravens game. That's gonna be a huge one. You got anything else? Anything changing?
No, nothing that I got changing right now. I'm just kind of interested in some of the early projections for the playoffs and some of those early matchups.
What we
Um,
got?
so as we speak right now, starting with the AFC, if the standings stayed exactly how they are today, in the first round we'd have the Dolphins versus the Colts. We'd have the Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. First round, that
Mm,
would be a big game. And then we have the
huge.
Jaguars versus the Browns. That would be the first round of the playoffs. I mean, seeing the Chiefs and Bills, they've had great playoff games the last couple years that have gone down to the wire. So that'll be a crazy good game. The Jaguars Browns, the Browns are hot right now. Joe Flacco is looking like Joe Flacco of old, and
Is
that
Deshaun
team.
Watson back? Is he back from
He's
recovery
done.
or?
He's done for the season, dude. He is
Oh,
out.
okay.
Yeah, he is
Yeah,
gone.
cause
So they're sticking with Joe for the rest of the season.
sheesh.
Yeah, so I don't know. And the Jags are tripping over themselves right now. They're not looking like the same team they looked like at the beginning of the season. So I don't know what's up with them. And then the Colts versus Dolphins, probably the least interesting matchup. I think that if the Colts should win that one pretty easy,
The Dolphins.
switching gears to the NFC in the Dolphins, yeah, but switching to the NFC, the first round would be the Eagles versus the Seahawks. So that would be a rematch of a good
I
game a
like
couple
that
weeks
game.
ago.
Yeah, I
We
like
would
that
get
game
the
a lot.
Rams. We'd get the Rams versus the Lions. This would be Jared Goff playing against his former team, and it would be in Detroit. So that would be a fun matchup. And then we have the Cowboys versus the Buccaneers, which has been an interesting matchup the last couple years. But this year, it's not Tom Brady, it's Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield has been looking like pretty solid the last couple weeks.
I'll
This
give him
Buccaneers
solid.
team,
Still a lot of mistakes in there, but I'll give him solid for sure.
a lot of
Uh,
mistakes, but he's really capitalizing on the talent that's on that team.
yes.
Yeah, like him and Mike Evans, they have great chemistry. So
He's the step up from Jameis Winston when Jameis Winston was on the Bucks. Like Jameis Winston had the yards title. He had all
mhm.
the touchdowns, but all the mistakes was a 30 and 30 touchdown season to interception. And I think
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield's using that same talent level with Mike Evans is like that same talent level, he could get it to the next set. But then you have the GOAT come in and take him to the Super Bowl. and take them to the playoff 2 years in a row. So
Yeah, so that's crazy, but there's still some cool regular season games coming up before we get to the playoffs. So this week we have the Lions playing against the Cowboys. They're the 3 and the 5 seed right now. The Cowboys are still trying to pull that division title away from the Eagles. So this is kind of a must win for Dallas unless they want to settle in at the 5 seed.
yeah.
That's an interesting game coming up this week along with the Dolphins and Ravens. So yeah,
We got some storylines coming up. It's crunch time.
it's crunch time, and I think the funnest part is none of these like placements are set in stone. Like
None.
a lot of teams have secured playoff spots, but nobody's secured a placement yet. So I think things are going to get shaken up these last 2 or 3 weeks of the season.
Shouts out to the Bills for making that strong comeback. Shouts out to the Seahawks, who I didn't think was gonna get here, but I kind of had a feeling. Shout out to the Rams for their little comeback of the season. And, Colts, Seahawks, hold on strong because you got people creeping. Vikings, I think they're going to drop out. I think the NFC is pretty, they're pretty set in stone. Maybe a couple of smush around move arounds, but that AFC, man, it's getting even tougher. Shout out to the Raiders. The Raiders for at least making the playoff push. New coach stepping in, a dog. You feel me? Somebody who fits the team's culture. Shout out to the Raiders. You guys aren't gonna beat us in the last week of the season, but yeah, actually might. I don't think that helps them get into the playoffs. But hey, shout out to them for coming strong against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
anybody who's making their real playoff push, I got respect for, because the Broncos are not.
Yeah, those matchups between the Raiders and the Broncos, it's going to be Aiden O'Connell versus Jarrett Stidham. I don't think anybody would have predicted that at the beginning of the season, but
yeah, Aiden O'Connell's I'm sure he was a great college quarterback. Let's just put it like that. But
he's winning games. He's not great, but he's winning
like
games.
0 of 10 at some point in the game, like 0 and 10 for completed passes. I was like, let's. I get the game management thing, but we can't put too much pressure on the defense, which is something the Broncos have struggled with. So
yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's it, man. You want to leave the people on something?
Yeah. This is gonna be a fun, exciting week of football this weekend. Me and Abel, we're gonna be tuned in, and yeah, we'll be sure to update y'all once we get through this weekend. This is gonna be our last show of 2023. We're gonna kick off 2024 with a bang. So thank you all for tuning in to us, watching our content, and come back in 2024. We're gonna get things started off with a bang.
For sure. Happy New Year's, happy holidays, and peace from Boogie the Bell. See you next year.